Hey everyone, Dom here, and in this video I'm going to give you my top 5 tools, plugins and analog gear that I use for making my mixes and masters wide and add 3D depth, something that pretty much everyone wants to do in their mixes. This list ranges from the creme de la creme high-end hardware costing thousands of dollars all the way to entirely free plugins and tools that you definitely have in your DAW. Let's dive into it. So the first thing on my list is also what I consider to be the best tool for adding width and 3D depth to any program material, and this is an analog piece of gear called Spacecraft on the Moon from Matthew Lane. If for some reason you've been living on the moon for the past 15 years or so, you must know that Matthew Lane creates some really special plugins. Lately he introduced Tiamo, which is an amazing multi-band processor. I strongly suggest you check it out, but this device is a fully analog special processor, and not only it can make things wide in a very special way, but it can also create stuff that wasn't there before, which allows for ultimate flexibility when you're mastering. For me, it's a secret weapon. Let's check it out. So this is Spacecraft on the Moon by Matthew Lane. In my opinion, this is the Rolls-Royce of wideners and mid-side processors, and the reason why I have this in the studio is because nothing else can do what this thing can do pretty much. And not only it allows you to make your mixes 3D and widen them, but it also has a capability of solving problems when you receive mixes that are not right. And for me, I also master a lot of classical music, a lot of orchestral music, and for tricks that I want to do with orchestral mastering, this gives me a very unique set of features. This is not going to be a review, but I'm very briefly going to explain what this unit can do. First, we have the vari width. This allows you to expand your stereo information and actually just boost it right here. You also have a high pass filter so that you can clean up your side signal. Then we have the really special section here, which is the space section. The zoom control allows you to add stereo information from the mono information, which means that even if you have a completely mono file like a vocal, you can still generate stereo information using the zoom control. That also has a relay switch right here that allows you to add an analog delay, and this contributes to the width. And then we have the depth, which basically does the exact opposite, and that's what I use many times when I have orchestral recordings that are just too wide. Basically what I can do is I can use the depth and generate mono information from the stereo information, and this can fill this void that sometimes really wide recordings have. Then we have this feedback control, and this actually I use it sometimes for sound design. This can create some very interesting effects like flanging, comp filtering, all these things. And of course we have an on-off switch. So let me show you how it sounds on a mix. The great thing is that you can cut your mid signal and then you can see exactly what's going on with your processing right here. So let's listen.
I tried to nail it. Everybody told me I'm a hot mess failure. I suck it up, but I'm never.
So you will listen that on the side signal there's no bass, there are no kick drums, there's nothing like this. Whatever is in the mid signal, you're not gonna hear it here. But now I can use the zoom control to add stereo information from the mid signal. Check it out. See, we get the bass. So now I'm going to bring back my mid channel and let's have a listen.
I tried to nail it. Everybody told me I'm a hot mess failure. I suck it up, but I'm never giving up. I'm waiting for the moment it will all blow. I tried to nail it. Everybody told me I'm a hot mess failure. I suck it up, but I'm never giving up. I'm waiting for the moment it will all blow. I tried to nail it. Everybody told me I'm a hot mess failure. I suck it.
And the magic of this machine is that unless you really push it hard, you won't really know what's going on. Things are going to sound wider and more 3D, but it's not something that you can put your finger on, you know? It's very subtle, and this is great for mastering because this allows you a lot of flexibility and you can add these beautiful nuances to make a track sound more 3D. And the great thing is, as you will see from our multi-correlation meter on Supervision and Cubase, we still retain mono compatibility. We don't have any phasing issues.
I tried to nail it. Everybody told me I'm a hot mess failure. I suck it up, but I'm never giving up. I'm waiting for the moment it will all blow. I tried to nail it. Everybody.
Here's an example from an orchestral piece, and let's say I wanted to add a little bit of body to the sound. I can use the depth to create mono information from the side information. I have to say, this machine shines on orchestral music or for jazz or anything acoustic because it's so organic. As somebody that masters a lot of orchestral music and other people's tracks, for me something like this is a game changer. Now I'm going to play a piano that was a stereo recording and check out how much width we can give, but also how much body we can give to the piano. This is the unique thing that this thing can do. Now check out what it can do on a completely mono vocal.
Soy el fuego que arde tu piel, soy el agua que mata tu sed, el castillo, la torre, yo soy la espada que guarda el caudal, tú el aire que respiro yo, y la luz de la luna en el mar. La garganta que ansio mojar, que temo ahogar de amor. ¿Y cuáles deseos me vas a dar? Oh, dices tú, mi deseo.
So I love adding this to vocals sometimes to make them more 3D, but again, you can't really put your finger on what happened there. It mostly sounds like a mono vocal, but it sounds wide. And of course, I use this many times as an effect. Check it out.
Soy el fuego que arde tu piel. Yo soy la espada que guarda el caudal, tú el aire que
It goes without saying, this is also amazing for synths and for guitars. Now obviously, this analog piece of gear might be out of reach for most people, so the good news that I have here is that Matthew Lane also has a plugin called Dr.MS, which can come really close to the hardware. It's not exactly the same, but it's really close. So I'm not going to dwell too much on this, but I'm going to show you that it has pretty much the same control. So we have zoom and we have the depth control as well. So let's do the same thing that I did on this track at the beginning.
I tried to make it. I tried to.
So see? No sub bass, no kick drum, none of the mid information are on our side channel. I'm going to add some width from the actual mid signal, and I'm going to do this with the zoom control like on the hardware unit. The great thing with the plugin is I can even solo the focus process. So let's have a listen.
I tried to. But I'm never never giving.
And the other great thing you can do with the plugin that you cannot really do on the hardware is that you can add a high pass and low pass filter, so you can really tailor the sound of the focus process.
I tried to make it, I tried to nail it. Everybody told me I'm a hot mess failure. I suck it up, but I'm never giving up. I'm waiting for the moment it will all blow up.
It's so good. Let's say I wanted to have my mid-range a little bit wider. I can do something like this. And remember, we're generating width right now. We're not using a simple width control, which of course exists here as well. If I do this,
I tried to make it, I tried to nail it. Everybody
if you go too much with this, then you're going to have problems when you sum in mono. But with this one, check it out.
I tried to make it, I tried to nail it. Everybody told me I'm a hot mess failure.
And again, with the depth, we create more information from the side channels.
I tried to make it, I tried to nail it. Everybody told me I'm a hot mess failure. I suck it up, but I'm never giving up. I'm waiting for the moment it will all blow up.
So again, I'm not going to go through the entire plugin, because if you want a review, just let me know in the comments down below. But this is, again, an amazing plugin. And in my opinion, if you want to have full control over your mid and side signals and create width and 3D dimension in your mixes, Dr.MS, go get it now. I'm gonna have a link in the description below. The third tool I would totally recommend if you want to make your mixes wide is any plugin that offers mid-side processing. And this could be an EQ, it could be a saturator, it could be distortion, it could be compression, and I have something coming up. I'm going to tell you my secret weapon when it comes to this. But basically, anything that allows you to process the mid signal in a separate way to the side signal is going to give you an amazing width and 3D dimension. One of my favorite plugins is the black box HG2MS, and I have the hardware for this as well, but it doesn't do MS, so I'm using the plugin for the MS functionality. So what I can do with these kinds of plugins is I can say, okay, I only want to saturate a certain frequency range on my side channel, and this gives you a lot of width. Let's check it out.
I tried to make it, I tried to nail it. Everybody told me I'm a hot mess failure. Oh, blow up, falling, then I'm up again. If you don't fail, you never learn. Just take the hint, close another door. Don't take no shit no more. I tried to make it, I tried to nail it. Everybody told me I'm a hot mess failure. I suck it up, but I'm never giving up. I'm waiting for the moment it will all blow up.
And the great thing with these plugins that have MS capabilities is that you're not only boosting the entire side signal, you're selecting what you want to boost. I talk about this extensively on my mastering courses, so if you're interested in going in depth, check out my mastering courses. I give you lots of tools and lots of techniques so that you take advantage of the MS capabilities of different plugins. Like I said, it could be any plugin. It could be the Pro Q4 by FabFilter, or it could even be the stock EQ in Cubase Frequency 2, which is my go-to EQ for all these things. Again, very easily you can turn any band into MS. For example, let's go here and I'm going to go to band 5, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it to mid-side. I'm going to go to my side band, and now I can enhance maybe the backing vocals and the percussion.
I tried to make it, I tried to nail it. Everybody told me I'm a hot mess failure. I suck it up, but I'm never giving up. I'm waiting
Or the
for the
synths.
moment it will all blow up.
So again, I'm being very selective, and this gives the mix a width that you cannot achieve by just adding a stereo widener, even if it's a multi-band stereo widener. So this is Number 3. Number 4 is something a little bit more involved, and this I would use mainly for mixing if I wanted to add a little bit of depth to an element, let's say a vocal or a synth, and this would be early reflections on a reverb. You can use pretty much any reverb, but every reverb is going to have their own sound when it comes to early reflections. If you want to know more about how to program reverbs, I've created a very comprehensive guide right here, so you can go check it out. I explain all those things, but some of my favorite plugins when it comes to early reflections is the VSS3 by TC Electronic, the VSS4, or this one right here, the Relab VSR Rev 6000, which is the algorithms from the System 6000. So let me show you a very simple example. I'm going to take this vocal, and the reason why I like this interface is that it gives me the early reflection on its separate level, its separate fader, and the reverb level on its separate fader. So I'm going to lower this all the way down, and I'm going to bring up just the early reflections.
Soy el fuego que arde tu piel, soy el agua que mata tu sed, el castillo, la torre, yo soy la espada que guarda el caudal, soy el fuego que arde tu piel, soy el agua que mata tu sed, el castillo, la torre, yo soy.
So basically what you do with this technique is you don't really add reverb in the traditional sense. You're actually adding early reflections, and this gives you a sense of depth. And sometimes what I like to do is I delay these early reflections a tiny bit. So I'm going to go here to advanced, and I'm going to have a delay for my early reflection start. So let's do this.
Soy el fuego que arde tu piel, soy el agua que mata tu sed, el castillo, la torre, yo soy la espada que guarda el caudal.
This is such a powerful technique when it comes to pop vocals. I cannot even begin to tell you. This is going to make such a big difference for your pop vocals when you want to make them 3D, but you want to keep them dead center. You don't want to have any phasing problems. This is a beautiful technique that you can use. If you don't have the Rev 6000, for example, you can use Revelation, which is a stock plugin in Cubase. It can do amazing things as well. And pretty much every reverb that has a good early reflection algorithm is going to do wonders for this. Now let me show you the last technique that I've actually talked about in the past, and I got so much great feedback about this video, and this is the Haas effect. You can achieve the Haas effect in many different ways, but the principle is that you want your signal to be duplicated on the right channel, pan your original signal all the way to the left channel, or vice versa, it doesn't matter, and then delay one of the channels up to around 25 to 30 milliseconds. What you want to do is you want to create this sense of depth, but you don't want this to sound like a delay. So the easiest way that I found to create the Haas effect in Cubase is to use the stereo delay like I've done here, and you can copy my settings. This is going to be perfect for this kind of scenario. So basically my left channel, my delay one, is dry, so I'm not adding any delay there, and the delay 2 line is all the way wet, and I delay it by 25 milliseconds, pan it all the way to the right, and feedback is 0. I don't want any more repeats. I just want one copy of the original signal. And this means that you can widen any sound you want without it being necessarily stereo. So let's play the vocal again.
Soy el fuego que arde tu piel, soy el agua que mata tu sed, el castillo, la torre, yo soy la espada que guarda el caudal.
Now, this sounds impressive. I know it sounds very wide, but I would use this effect sparingly. You can widen everything with this effect. Any source will be super wide. But one thing you need to remember is you need to use this as an effect. You shouldn't use it on your lead vocal, for example, unless you want to spread it for some reason at some point for a highlight effect. Because what happens is if you add the Haas effect, you don't have mono compatibility. So let me show you. So this is my multi-correlation meter.
Soy el fuego que arde tu piel. Soy el agua que mata tu sed.
And you can see when we get these red lines going below zero, that means that you might experience some loss of information when you sum to mono, or you might get some phasing issues. Technically, you shouldn't worry about this too much, but this would be an effect that I would add to pads, to synths, maybe to some backing vocals, but I wouldn't add it to the lead vocal, at least like this dry, and I wouldn't add it to my kick drums, for example, or my snares. So this is a very powerful and free tool, and pretty much every DAW that has a stereo delay can recreate this effect. If you don't have a stereo delay for some reason, just duplicate your vocal to a second channel, delay the channel by 20-25 milliseconds, and then pan left and right the original signal and the delayed signal, and you'll get the same exact effect. Now, before I leave you, I want to have an honorary mention for another processor that I use a lot when it comes to stereo widening, and this is the Portico 2 Master Bus processor. And I know that Neve released the Master Bus transformer that has widening, but for me, the Portico 2 MBT still remains the most serious mid-side tool, because the thing that you can do with this machine is mid-side parallel compression, and not many people grasp this. It's such an amazing thing that you can do with your mixes to make them sound wide. And again, like with Spacecraft, you can't really put your finger on it. It just sounds brilliant, and not only it makes things sound wider and more 3D, but it gives you more depth in your mix, and it can increase your perceived loudness. If you want to know more about this, I've done a dedicated video about the Portico 2 Master Bus processor, but I also show it extensively, including this technique, on my mastering course, my hybrid analog mastering masterclass. So there you go, my friends. These are 5 tools that will allow you to make your mixes wide and 3D. In the comments down below, let me know what are your favorite tools. Let's geek out. And of course, if you found this video useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, all the good stuff, or check out my instruments, the Modern 80s Kit Max, and my mastering courses if you want to know more about how I personally make things wide on a real mastering situation. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.